Hello, everyone. This is Shauna, and I'm coming to you with another edition of From Shauna's Desk. I haven't done one of these in a while now, but I wanted to come on tonight. It's almost the 1 year anniversary of our uh, isolation and lockdown for us here at Norwalk Home. And if you followed some of my other videos, you know some of the drama of that. Um, if you don't know, you can go back into my video archives and learn about my Zoom journey and my Read My Shelves project and the other things that I was involved in and some of the math stuff that I do with my job as a tutor and how this YouTube channel got started. I'm not really here to um, rehash that. I can summarize it briefly as I go along, but I wanted to come today and think about where have I been in the last year and where is the sort of ongoing, unfolding pandemic taking us. Because in spite of the fact that cases are down in the US and around the world considerably, they're still considerably high. And in some places like Chechnya and Eastern Europe, they're actually rising. So I just wanted to come and share a few thoughts on that. First of all, I remember saying at the beginning of this situation that it was sort of a fallacy that we were going to ever return to life as we knew it before. And one of the reasons that I said that was because even if we could miraculously snap our fingers and all of this could go away and the mask wearing went away and the social distancing resolved itself and we could go visit friends and hang out in each other's homes and share glasses and cups with each other again and even simple things like go to the doctor, we would not be the same people after being in the situation that we've been in, whatever that situation looks like for you, because it's different for everybody, depending on your environment, your experiences, all of that. Um, Depending on that, you're not the same person that you were a year ago. And so, even if it did change, there's things that are fundamentally different and will never be the same. And I think where we have to go in this second sort of phase is not just we're not going back to where we were, even if we go back to where we were in some senses, is what are we going to do now to embrace the new normal that we have? I mean, people are still trying to get back to the old normal, but the fact of the matter is, we're living in a new normal, and it might be a transitional new normal that might last for another 3 months, another 6 months, another year. Depends a lot on where you are, what kind of risk factors you have, and honestly, the responses of other people that may or may not do things that are in the best interest of the public health for the majority. But that's beside the point. Um, what are you doing to embrace the new normal? What are you doing in some cases to endure the new normal for sure? I've been working from home for the last year, so you know, I've been very fortunate in that way that I'm allowed to do that. And I actually have a second job that I just picked up recently, uh, working for a private tutoring company that works with all grades to help them. And I did that because I can do that 10 months out of the year, where my job at Cerritos, I work maybe 9 months out of the year. I can do the other job all year. Um, it's still in its infant stages, and I'm still being onboarded in that sense. But my work life is progressing well in that sense. My spiritual and emotional life, not as much, not so much, and I really need to take my own advice a little more, and not so much focus on the numbers, which I haven't been focusing too much on, but I've been focusing on the more than is healthy, I think. And I'm really, the question that I'm asking myself, and the question that I want to bring before us today is, what is your new normal? What does your new normal look like? What does your new normal feel like? And what are you going to do to be a better person in your new normal? And that's the question that is sitting before me right now, is what am I going to do to be better? And I think that's a thing that I'll be exploring as I go through the next phase of this pandemic and isolation, and work from home and Zoom calls and Zoom chats and videos to catch up on and whatnot. And I just want to, because I haven't done it recently, I want to give a shout out to all of my healthcare worker friends out there. I know you guys are still on the front lines, um, and you're still taking care of people and doing the best you can in a horrendous situation. And there's lots of things that we can talk about in this series, and maybe we will talk about that later. Maybe we can talk about things like the vaccine, which I did get. I did get the vaccine, and it's been about a month since I got the second dose. I got the Pfizer, and the first dose was relatively uneventful. A lot of pain in my arm, a lot of pain at the injection site for a few days, some fatigue, um, not too much else. The second dose, 21 days later, was a whole different story. So it pretty much felt like I had gotten hit by a bus about 12 hours later. I first 12 hours didn't feel much, had some soreness, had some mild fatigue. About 12 hours later, got really nasty chills, the kind that you can't control, and you can't stay warm no matter what you do. Um, Never had a hugely high fever. I couldn't quite figure that one out. My fever went up to about 100.2 Fahrenheit, but I was just really cold all day and really stiff and really sore. Think about the hardest workout you've ever done, where you can hardly move without being in pain. That was what it felt like to be there. And I had that about, I would say, about 2 days. I had 2 days of really severe muscle weakness and just generally feeling bad. And fever went away after about a day and a half, um, but had a lot of muscle fatigue and a lot of headaches. I had quite significant headache, which I was not used to. But I would definitely say that if you are eligible to get the vaccine and your healthcare professional thinks that it's safe to do so, there are risks. There are risks to everything. And you have to weigh those risks, and you have to decide where you are spiritually with that, and where you are emotionally and physically with that. But if I can endure it, Most of you are stronger physically than I am, and um, maybe not immunologically stronger, but I do have risk factors, as does everyone here. And I'm just glad the vaccine is over, and I hope that it confers protection and immunity, because now we have the variants out there. And that's a whole other can of worms that stands to change this whole situation. And this situation continues to change for us. I think that's another thing that we need to really think about is, regardless of where we are, is how are we going to sort of grapple with constant change. I think this whole sort of fugue of constant change is going to be with us for a long time, and this sort of cloud of uncertainty will just hang for a while. And what are you going to do with that? And as for me, I think I've just sort of tried to take as much responsibility as I could for the things that I can control, and try to build a routine that I can live with. I mean, I've spent the last year cleaning out my archives. Most of you know that I had pretty extensive archives, and I'm still cleaning them out. I use those moments and those papers to sort of purge that, and I use it in my work, but then I throw it away. And it's been very liberating in a sense, because you realize kind of that everything has a lifespan, and some things are destined to be around longer than others, and you need to spend more time with them than others. And some, it's really not a big deal to let go, and it's almost like it's a purge. It's a release in that sense. Most of us have had that. Some of us felt that very keenly at the beginning of the pandemic. If you were one of the people who kind of went on a cleaning frenzy and cleaned out all your closets, and had this sort of existential moment where you were like, we have these moments and we'll never have them again. Let us seize upon them and make the best use we can. Um, and I think that sort of instinct comes and goes. But I also think that it's about bringing in what you want and releasing what you don't want. And so I hope that these thoughts, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I'm doing as well as can be expected. I'm doing fine physically, as are my housemates. We're all kind of getting through this as well as we can, and with various degrees of frustration and anger, and just mostly um, a sense of loss, I think, a sense of loss as to what we're missing right now. And I think that it's behooves us to think about something else that I said in one of my other videos, when I said, we've all lost something, and some of us have lost more than others. Um, but I think it's about acknowledging what you've lost, but also looking at what do I still have left, and where can I go from here. So in closing, I would just encourage us in this anniversary time of the pandemic to think about, where have we been, and personally and as a society, where have we been, and where are our individual actions and our individual decisions taking us in our individual lives, and as a community, because like it or not, in some way, we all belong to each other. And so we all impact one another for better or worse. And I just hope that wherever you are, you're safe, you're well, you're cared for, you have resources. And I hope that you take these thoughts to heart and maybe, just maybe, find a way to find an internal key that makes you have a glimmer of hope and look at the future, the next day, as a gift. It's not promised, and I hope that you will make the most of it. There is a future, whether it's here or beyond here, you can think about for yourself. That's between you and God. I happen to believe that there is a life after this one, and that life is eternal. And if you think about it, we're living in somebody else's eternity. If you think about people that died 100 years ago, they didn't know what was coming in 100 years. And we're living after them. They're in a different plane than we are. And we're living in their eternity, but on a different plane. But that's a different conversation for a different day. I just wanted to come on and give you guys a little message and hope that you're doing well. And like I said, if you want more information on how I got through the pandemic and what the Zoom situation was like and what that whole um, transition has been and where this channel came from, check out some of my other videos on the channel. But for now, I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to say be well, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.